A pleasure to meet all at last. And so, I'm back at it once again on the Vlog-A-Thon to let you guys know that there has been a lot of stuff that's worth talking about here on this channel. So, let's just say that ever since I last did the Vlog-A-Thon, which was all the way back in 2022, a lot of events have in fact unfolded. And while I have breezed through a good majority of them when I was talking about each year based on their quarterlies, so I essentially spent 12 videos of the Vlog-A-Thon this time around talking about the years of 2023, 2024, and 2025, and pretty much as a bonus I talked about how I felt so far about 2026. So essentially there's a lot of stuff I would like to talk about here, and some of which I haven't even mentioned when I was talking about each year and how I made my own feedback upon experiencing through each of these years. So maybe one of those things would have to be the fact that this is not the same phone that I had back in 2022. This is actually a newer model, the iPhone 14 Max. And well, if you can't already tell, even the wallpaper has some unique customization that's mostly prevalent on the newer models. So I'll just go ahead and explain it all, shall we? So let's take it from the top, shall we? Everybody probably knows by now that by March of 2022, I was able to save up enough money to buy a brand new iPhone SE3, which at the time was brand new. However, just over 2 years later, in July of 2024, I ended up trading in the iPhone SE3 for this 14 Max. Now the reason being is because unfortunately things weren't working all too well with US Cellular, which at the time had been the cell phone provider and network provider as well, because not only were they allowing us to have our phones and tablets and stuff connect to each other via numbers and stuff, but they also were able to bring along such things including data, hotspots, and even internet, which of course would be essential for a variety of different points in our work. Though I will say, we ended up in a not so good position by summer of 2024. So what we did was we made ourselves a little trip to Verizon and started up a contract with them. We were able to get an unlimited data plan, $200 a month, but with 4 free phones and 4 lines, all free of charge. So you might be wondering how that's so. Well, it's simple. Nolan Totori, one of our members at Kaiju Force Neo, had in fact organized this plan specifically so that way, not only would he be able to benefit from this plan, but he also would allow for me, my brother, and my sister-in-law to all benefit from having this plan. With unlimited data, unlimited connectivity, as well as a good value from each phone all put together throughout this plan, which is supposed to carry on until late 2028, we can happily say that this was well worth the money here. Putting in a good $200 just so we can have ourselves all of this free stuff. And so I really have to thank him for that. I really have to do a lot just to repay him at this point. But you never know, maybe he'll do more for the company as he will do for anything else outside of our jobs. So I can't exactly say that there was a whole lot more mentioned here or that's worth mentioning. But the fact is that it took a good 2.5 hours worth to get it all put together here. We all had to get our phones up in order. All of us had to be at the same Verizon store so that we could successfully make the swap to our new devices. And on top of all that, they were able to transfer everything via the iCloud feature, since by this point we were all using Apple devices, many of which were different models and of course in different conditions, with mine of course not having much usage or damage put on it. Though I will say that today, April 2026, it's been less than 2 years since we started this whole thing, and a few things have indeed happened here. I could just go off and say that the dirt and dust that's been getting into certain surfaces, including the charging port and the speaker nodes, That's morally just a first though, because other things that are in mind here will include the cracks that you might be able to see on the screen. But don't worry, these were free screen protectors. We were also offered cases on the spot, but I mostly just went ahead and bought myself a MagSafe case complete with the pop socket, like this. Like I said, there just isn't too much more than I can elaborate here, just so you can get the full gist of what's been going on, and especially what kind of smartphone I've used for a little while now. But at the same time, I can at least say these are things worth talking about on this channel, as some people are hoping to have me give a big update, especially if there are just some of those who just want to see everything about what I vlog. So that's what I've come around here for, to jumpstart a new Vlog-A-Thon series, and most importantly, to catch up with people and bring them up to speed on what's new. So I feel like that covers everything for this piece of the Vlog-A-Thon, but again, there's going to be a lot more things I'll have to talk about here. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side for more.